6:30 Tuesday morning, I'm heading out for a sunrise ride with my
man.
coffee still hot. Air smells like wet
You left
grass
me no
and peace.
choice.
Suburban perfect, right? Then I see my Harley.
You are a liar!
15 years restoring her. 28
I am
grand
not
invested.
lying to you.
My late wife's name airbrushed on the tank, now gouged through with deep scratches. Ignition punched out, gas dripping onto concrete. That sharp stink hitting me like a slap. Before I can process it, this kid strolls over from across the street. 23, smirking like mommy just called him special. Shouldn't park your trash out here, old man. Phone already at his ear. Yeah, 911? Guy at 42, Larkspur, threatened to kill me. Sirens wailing, getting closer. What would you do right now? Comments below. Where you watching from? Drop your location. Kid thinks he won. Doesn't know I spent 22 years making punks like him regret that smile. This gets good. My name's Garrett Trudeau, 59, retired ATF special agent out of Chicago. 22 years wearing a federal badge, gun trafficking, cartel money laundering, the kind of work where you learn to read people fast and stay calm when things go sideways. I retired 3 years ago when my wife Miranda died. Cancer took her in 11 months, 31 years of marriage gone. After the funeral, I realized I didn't want to spend my remaining time chasing criminals through Chicago's worst blocks. So I took my pension, sold our place, and moved here. Pine Haven Meadows, a planned community 40 minutes outside Indianapolis, supposed to be peaceful, quiet, the kind of place where sprinkler disputes are your biggest headache. The Harley was ours. Miranda and I bought that 1995 Heritage Softail when we were young and dumb enough to think we'd ride cross-country someday. Life got in the way. Jobs, mortgage, her mother's health. The bike sat unused in our garage for 15 years. After she died, I started restoring it. Therapy, I guess. I'd spend hours surrounded by the smell of Bel-Ray oil, the weight of chrome wrenches in my hands, each bolt tightened like a promise kept to her. Pine Haven looked perfect. 140 homes, tree-lined streets, a little community center. My ranch house at 42 Larkspur was nothing fancy, but the lawn was clean and I could see sunsets from the back porch. First 4 months went smooth. I kept to myself, mowed every Saturday morning, that rhythmic thunk-thunk of the push mower at 8 a.m. sharp, old military habits, and helped my elderly neighbor Mrs. Kowalski with her groceries when I'd see her struggling. Then I met Deandra Calloway. She lived across the cul-de-sac in a colonial twice the size of mine. 52, divorced, face like a hatchet, and a personality to match. Drove a leased Audi Q5, wore expensive athleisure everywhere, and treated the neighborhood like her personal kingdom. You could always hear her coming during HOA meetings, those acrylic nails clicking against her phone screen while she scrolled through violations. Deandra was HOA treasurer, but acted like president, sheriff, and judge combined. Her son Jackson lived with her, 23, unemployed, drove a modified Charger with an exhaust that sounded like flatulence echoing through the suburbs at 6 a.m. I'd later learn the kid had a sealed juvenile record. 2 DUIs, petty theft, disorderly conduct, the kind of punk who'd never faced consequences because mommy brought lawyers and checkbooks. Week 2 of living there, I parked my Harley in the driveway, legal per the bylaws I'd read cover to cover. Next morning, there's a printed notice under the seat. Motorcycles must be garaged. Diminishes property values. $50/day fines start Monday. I checked the bylaws again. Section 7C. Motorcycles explicitly allowed in driveways. Only RVs and boats needed approval. She was inventing rules. I sent a polite email to the board with a screenshot of the actual bylaw. Figured that'd end it. 3 days later, Deandra called an emergency meeting. Proposed a visual blight amendment. Motorcycles now need written board approval for driveway parking. 5-member board. She controlled 2 through pure intimidation. Vote passed 3-2. My legal spot became illegal overnight. That evening I sat on my porch watching her house across the street, lights blazing behind closed blinds. The cicadas were buzzing in the warm air, and that old itch started between my shoulder blades, the one I used to get before raids when I knew someone dangerous was close. See, the Harley wasn't just a bike. Miranda's bandana was still tied to the handlebar. Her name was painted on that tank. It was the last tangible piece of her I had left. I didn't survive cartel stakeouts and federal investigations to get bullied by a suburban tyrant with a clipboard and a power complex. Deandra Calloway just made a critical mistake. She picked a fight with someone who'd spent 2 decades making people like her face consequences. The harassment started 5 days after that board vote. 6 a.m. I'm dead asleep when this ungodly roar shakes my bedroom windows. I bolt upright, hand instinctively reaching for the nightstand where I used to keep my service weapon 20 years ago. But it's not gunfire, it's Jackson's modified Charger, that cheap aftermarket exhaust sounding like a dying water buffalo, revving right outside my window before screaming off down Larkspur Lane. Next morning, same thing, 6 a.m. exactly. Day 3, there's a trash bag at the edge of my lawn, technically on public easement so I can't prove ownership, but inside are Taco Bell wrappers and an energy drink can with Jackson sharpied on the side. Kid's not exactly a criminal mastermind. By day 7, I've got it documented. I'd installed a 4K security system the day after the board meeting. 4 discrete cameras positioned legally, covering my property and the public street. Nothing aimed at windows, everything within Indiana statute. The footage is beautiful. Every morning at 6 a.m., there's Jackson doing his drive-by. Every few nights, same build, same gate, dumping trash near my mailbox. I create a spreadsheet, timestamps, license plates, decibel readings from a phone app. Back when I was building federal cases against gun traffickers, my supervisor used to say documentation wins trials, not theories. Turns out the same applies to HOA wars. Then I run a background check. Public records, completely legal, takes 20 minutes on the county clerk's website. I'd forgotten how much people assume is hidden when it's actually sitting right there for anyone to find. Jackson Calloway's file is a goldmine. 2 DUIs from ages 19 and 20, both pleaded down to reckless driving. A sealed juvenile record I can't access, but arrest dates are public. Disorderly conduct, theft, mischief. And the beautiful part? License suspended 6 months ago for unpaid court fines totaling $4,200. Suspended means he's committing a crime every single morning outside my house. The information goes in a folder. I'm not playing that card yet. You don't show your hand until you're ready to take the pot. Another thing I learned watching interrogations go sideways when agents got impatient. Day 13, grocery store parking lot. I'm loading saddlebags on the Harley when Jackson's Charger whips in behind me, blocking my exit. He climbs out with his phone already recording, that smirk plastered across his face. My mom says you're making her life hell with your lawyer bullshit. I don't look up. Just keep working the bungee cords on my groceries. Movements calm and methodical. Heat's radiating off his hood, engine running way too rich. That burnt oil smell thick in the air. Cheap tune job, probably done in someone's garage. Son, I haven't called a lawyer yet. When I do, you'll know. He steps closer, phone extended. This is harassment. I'm recording you threatening me right now. I finally look at him. Give him the smile I used to give suspects during interrogations. The one that says I've already won and you just don't know it yet. Good. Make sure you get the part where you're parked illegally in a fire lane. I nod at the yellow curb under his rear tire. That's camera 3 up there by the entrance. Great angle. His eyes flick up to the security camera, then widen slightly. He's back in his car and gone before the store manager even reaches us, tires squealing against asphalt. I finish loading, wave to the concerned manager, just a misunderstanding, and head home. That evening, certified letter in my mailbox. Official HOA letterhead. $600 in accumulated fines for motorcycle parking, due in 10 days or they'll place a lien on my property. Here's where Deandra got sloppy. The signature block lists her as HOA president. She's not the president. She's treasurer. The actual president is Gregory Matsuno, a retired school teacher who hasn't said a word at meetings. She's forging authority. In Indiana, that's not an HOA squabble. It edges into fraud territory. I'd seen this before, back in Chicago. Small-time operators who got drunk on tiny amounts of power, started cutting corners, figured nobody would check. They always made the same mistake, underestimating how much documentation matters. I photograph the letter, scan it, save copies to 3 different drives. Then I start calling board members. Casual coffee invitations, nothing aggressive. Gregory Matsuno agrees immediately, sounds exhausted and quietly terrified. 2 other members worship Deandra, repeat her talking points verbatim. But Yolanda, who, retired accountant mid-60s, hesitates when I mention finances. Between you and me, she says quietly, something doesn't add up in the books. I asked to review statements last month, and Deandra shut me down hard. Said it wasn't my concern as a regular board member. I thank her and hang up. The cracks are showing now. Deandra's built her little empire on intimidation and Gia. Nobody would look close enough to see the foundation crumbling. Time to start applying pressure. 2:47 a.m., day 19. My phone buzzes. Motion alert. I pull up the camera feed, still half asleep. There's a hooded figure crouched by my Harley, and before he even looks up, I know from the build, it's Jackson. He's dragging a key across the fuel tank. long, deliberate gouges through the midnight blue paint, right through Miranda's name in silver script. Then he pulls out a screwdriver and starts punching the ignition, metal scraping metal in the silent pre-dawn. Every instinct says go out there now. But the smarter part, the part that built federal cases for 20 years, says let him finish, make it undeniable. He looks directly at the camera, grins, flips it off, then walks away like he just finished taking out the trash. I wait until he's back inside Deandra's house before going outside. The damage hits harder than expected. Those jagged silver scars through Miranda's name, the ignition destroyed, gasoline pooling on concrete, sharp chemical stink burning my throat. I stand there breathing, feeling that old anger trying to rise, the kind that got agents in trouble when cases turned personal. I push it down. Anger makes you sloppy. I go inside and wait. 6:30 a.m., right on schedule, Jackson strolls across the cul-de-sac with that smirk. Morning, neighbor. Something wrong with your bike? All fake concern. Real shame when property gets damaged. Maybe you should park it in the garage like Mom says. I sip my coffee. You looked right at the camera. He stops. Smirk falters. 2:47 this morning. Keyed the tank, punched the ignition. Smiled at camera 2, even flipped it off. Another sip. Felony criminal mischief in Indiana. Damage over $3 grand. That's 2 to 8 years. His face drains white, then flushes red. Phone out, hands shaking. You're threatening me. I'm calling the cops. Good, save me the trouble. He actually does it. Voice pitching high. Yeah, 42 Larkspur, guy's threatening me over his motorcycle, got illegal cameras, I think he's gonna attack. 8 minutes later, 2 squad cars arrive. Sergeant Nyland climbs out, mid-50s, professional, with a young officer named Perez. Jackson's performing for the neighborhood now. Officers, thank God. This man's been harassing me for weeks, threatening to kill me over scratches he's trying to blame on me. Sergeant, I say calmly, hands visible. I have high-definition footage. Suspect's face clearly visible. Time-stamped. Felony criminal mischief. I hand him the USB drive I'd prepared. Nyland squints at me. Wait, Trudeau? ATF Trudeau? Bridgeport Task Force? Retired. Just want to file charges. Recognition changes everything. Nyland takes the drive and Jackson's confidence evaporates. He pulls out his phone again. Calling Mommy. Deandra arrives 7 minutes later in a bathrobe, barefoot, barely coherent. She screeches into my driveway like the Normandy invasion. Officers! Pointing at me like I'm a war criminal. This man has harassed my son for weeks. I have a log. I have witnesses. She's waving printed papers, probably keeps them ready for moments like this. Nyland sounds exhausted. Ma'am, we have video evidence of your son destroying property. That camera is illegal. Pointed at my house. Privacy violation. The cameras record his property and public spaces. Completely legal in Indiana. I stay quiet. This is Nyland's show. But he's been threatening us, stalking my son, making our lives hell because we're maintaining community standards. Nyland cuts her off. Your son is under arrest for felony criminal mischief. Perez has Jackson in cuffs. The smirk's gone. He's looking at Deandra with genuine fear, and she's staring at me like I just torched her world. This isn't over, she hisses. I will destroy you. I take another sip of coffee, looking forward to it. The squad cars pull away with Jackson in back. Deandra stands in my driveway shaking with rage, then storms back to her house. Curtains moving across the street. Mrs. Kowalski watching. Other neighbors too. The whole cul-de-sac just saw Deandra's golden boy arrested. Sergeant Nyland pauses before leaving, voice low. She's got pull with the township supervisor. Watch your back. I nod, already planning on it. The sun's fully up now, birds chirping, sprinklers starting their cycles, coffee and gasoline mixing in the warming air. I look at the Harley, Miranda's name scarred but visible. Not done yet, I say quietly, not even close. Day 23. Certified letter in my mailbox, thicker than the last one. Emergency special assessment, $5,800 per household. Immediate road repairs and legal consultation. Payment due in 24 hours. Non-compliant homes subject to immediate lien. 24 hours. Indiana law requires 30 days notice for assessments over 500. This isn't bending rules, it's breaking them. I call Township Public Works. A woman named Susan answers, sounds genuinely confused when I ask about Larkspur Lane road repairs. No permits filed, sir. Your HOA hasn't requested anything in 18 months. No road repairs. So where's the money going? I spend 2 hours fighting through bureaucratic red tape to access HOA bank statements. Indiana law says tax-exempt HOAs must make financials available to members, but Deandra's made it deliberately difficult. 3 formal requests later, I'm finally looking at the records. $47,000 transferred to Callaway Consulting LLC over 18 months. I run a business registry search. Old habit from tracking cartel money through shell companies back in Chicago. Callaway Consulting is registered to Deandra's address. Sole proprietor, Deandra Marie Callaway. She's been paying herself for services that don't exist. I've seen this before. Someone gets a little authority, realizes nobody's watching, starts moving money. They always think they're too smart to get caught. They never are. My phone rings. Unknown number. Mr. Trudeau? Sloan Beckett, Indianapolis Star. I cover suburban corruption. Heard you might have an HOA story worth investigating. Word travels fast. Possibly. What are you thinking? Coffee tomorrow? I've been tracking HOA abuse for 3 years. You bring documentation, I bring front page placement. We set a time. That evening, Deandra strikes on Facebook. Pine Haven Meadows Community Group, 8 p.m. Concerned about aggressive newcomer threatening our children's safety. Use caution near 42 Larkspur Lane. Individual has made threats against longtime residents and shows signs of instability. Protecting our community is paramount. Photo attached. My house, veteran plates visible. Comments flood in from her friends, clearly coordinated. I heard he threatened someone. PTSD issues? My kids play there, terrifying. I screenshot everything, print copies, add to the file, but 3 comments break the pattern. Wait, isn't this the guy whose bike got vandalized? The Callaway kid got arrested, right? Cops had video evidence. Maybe there's more here. Didn't you fine him for legal parking, Deandra? Not everyone's buying her story. I don't respond. Don't engage. That's what she wants. A public fight to screenshot as proof of my aggression. Instead, I make quiet calls. Mrs. Kowalski, whose sprinkler I fixed. The Brunellas. Rick Haverson, the contractor. Turns out I'm not alone. Mrs. Kowalski's paid $3,400 in landscaping fines over 2 years. Her yard's immaculate. She stopped fighting because Deandra threatened a lien, and she's on fixed income with medical bills. The Brunellis got fined $800 for unapproved pool structure. It was an inflatable kiddie pool for their 3-year-old. Rick paid $1,200 in commercial vehicle fines before giving up and parking his work truck at his brother's place. By midnight, 8 households, $28,600 in bogus fines. Combined with her $47,000 in self-payments, Deandra's looking at over $75,000 in fraud. Next morning, Highway 52 diner. Sloan Beckett's 40-ish, sharp eyes, recorder ready. The place smells like burnt coffee and bacon grease. Red vinyl booth sticky under my forearms. I slide the folder across. Bank statements, fake invoices, victim statements, Facebook screenshots, police reports. She reads slowly. Expression shifts from professional to genuinely angry. This is criminally prosecutable. You know that? I do? You want this public? I want every homeowner who paid fake fines to know they can get their money back. I want her to understand actions have consequences. Sloan smiles slightly. 2 weeks. I'll vet everything, clear it legally, talk to sources. Then we go big. 2 weeks. I can wait. We shake hands. Driving home, Deandra's standing in her driveway, arms crossed, glaring. She doesn't speak, just watches me park and walk inside. She knows something's shifted. She can feel the ground moving under her feet. Good, let her worry. Day 31, late evening. Home office, surrounded by files Gregory Matsuno dropped off earlier. 3 years of HOA documents he'd been too terrified to share while Deandra was watching. Gregory looked like he'd aged a decade. His wife's cancer treatments are bleeding their savings dry, and he finally admitted Deandra threatened to create problems with their insurance if he didn't vote her way. Classic intimidation. I'm on page 43 of the original 2006 HOA charter when I see it. Section 12C, buried in dense legal language. No amendment to parking, vehicle, or storage regulations shall be valid without approval by 75% of total homeowner membership via mailed ballot. Board votes alone are insufficient. I read it 3 times. My coffee's gone cold in the mug, that burnt ground smell hanging in the air. Deandra's motorcycle ban, pushed through with a 3-2 board vote, was never legal. She needed 75% of all 140 homeowners. She got 3 people in a room. Every single fine she issued under that amendment is void. I call Marcus Feinstein, the pro bono HOA attorney I found through legal aid. He answers despite it being nearly 10 p.m. Marcus, found something. Charter clause that nukes every parking fine. Send a photo. I snap the page, text it. 30 seconds of silence. Holy hell, this isn't just voidable. This is grounds for harassment and punitive damages. Every fine she collected was illegal extraction. What about the embezzlement? Trickier. Bank transfers aren't enough if she claims she did real work. Need proof she provided no services, or better yet, get her to admit it. On record? On record would be game over. We strategize for 15 minutes. The plan crystallizes. Let her think she's winning, bait one more public power play, then detonate everything simultaneously. Media, legal, community confrontation. Timeline's tight. Sloan needs 2 weeks for her article. Marcus can file injunction and class actions simultaneously, but court dates run 3 weeks minimum. Can you be ready in 3 weeks? Marcus asks. Count on it. I hang up and stare at that charter page. All this time, Deandra operated on pure bluff. She rewrote reality, counted on nobody reading the fine print, and squeezed thousands from people too exhausted to fight. I'd seen this in federal investigations. Someone builds a false world through sheer confidence, and everyone accepts it because challenging authority feels impossible until someone checks the receipts. Turns out the receipts rarely lie, unlike the people writing them. Text from Gregory. Board meeting next month. Another special assessment. $3,200. Security enhancements. I reply, perfect. Let her dig deeper. Sloan texts, 3 more victims on record. Single mom paid $1,800 in fake noise violations because her kids played in the backyard. This story's going nuclear. Across the cul-de-sac, Deandra's living room light blazes. Her silhouette moves past the window, probably scheming her next move, completely convinced she's untouchable. She has no idea the ground beneath her feet is already crumbling. I glance at Miranda's photo on my desk, her smile frozen from a Colorado camping trip 15 years back. The frame's edges are worn smooth from how often I pick it up. Almost there, babe, I say quietly. Almost done. 3 weeks. Then Deandra Calloway learns what consequences feel like. Days 34 through 42. My dining table disappears under documents, binders with color-coded tabs, laptop running searches 20 hours a day. The garage smells like fresh paint and chrome polish. I'm restoring the Harley between strategy sessions, keeping my hands busy while my brain builds the case. Gregory Matsuno first. We meet at his kitchen table while his wife's at chemo. He looks hollow, hasn't touched the coffee in front of him. The weight of 3 years under Deandra's thumb has carved lines in his face. I need you to call an emergency meeting. You're still president. You have authority. He starts to protest, but I show him the victim list. 8 households, 28,000 in fraudulent fines. Mrs. Kowalski at the top. Something shifts in his expression. When? 3 weeks, Saturday, 10 a.m. What's the agenda? Officially, enforcement of delinquent assessments. Let her think she's won. He nods. I'll do it. Sloan Beckett next. Her Indianapolis Star office has a corkboard covered in HOA nightmares from across Indiana. This problem runs deep. I need a camera crew at that meeting, I tell her. Day 49. She hesitates until I mention the embezzlement angle and the public exposure. Her eyes light up. We'll call it a series on HOA governance. I'll bring a photographer and videographer. Be ready. It'll get loud. Marcus Feinstein meets me downtown, legal pad covered in notes. 3 simultaneous filings, he says, tapping each line. Injunction against the assessment. Class action for illegal fines. Forensic audit demand. All at once? Maximum impact. Injunction freezes her ability to collect her lien. Class action puts her defensive. Audit forces books open, or she faces contempt. People don't realize how powerful injunctions are in these situations. They cost maybe $200 to $400 to file, and judges genuinely enjoy stopping HOA abuse. I learned that tracking federal asset seizures, same principle applies. You're essentially hitting pause on someone's ability to harm you while building the bulletproof case. Just need solid evidence of immediate damage, which we've got in spades. When do we serve? At the meeting, process server waits outside. She starts her presentation. We walk in and hand her everything, right in front of everyone. Marcus smiles. She'll lose it. Emotional people make mistakes. We want her angry and talking. The victim coalition takes 2 evenings. Mrs. Kowalski's grandson pushes her wheelchair up my driveway. The Brunellis bring their 3-year-old who asks if the mean lady is going away. Rick Haverson's brother, the paralegal, takes detailed notes. Everyone's ready. Show up together, I tell them. Bring kids. She's treated you like case numbers. Let everyone see you're real people with real families. Mrs. Kowalski grips my hand, skin paper thin but surprisingly strong. I thought I'd lose my house. Been paying her 2 years. Thank Gregory. He's putting his reputation on the line. I'll thank you both. I build a website, pinehaventruth.com. Simple, clean. Bank statements showing the 47,000. Victim testimonies, bogus fine notices. Original charter with Section 12C highlighted. Everything properly redacted for privacy. Everything sourced and dated. Back when we built federal racketeering cases, my old supervisor had a saying, transparency is credibility's best friend. If you're accusing someone of corruption, show your work or shut up. I print 50 QR code business cards linking to the site. Night before confrontation. I'm in the garage finishing the Harley. Miranda's name gleams perfectly under the work light. Silver script restored. I tie her bandana back on the handlebar, run my palm across the smooth tank. The paint's mirror finish, not a single imperfection. Across the cul-de-sac, Deandra's windows blaze. I see her pacing on the phone. She knows something's coming. My phone lights up. Marcus. Process server confirmed, legal reviewed everything. Bulletproof. Sloan. Crew ready, front page material. Gregory. Meeting posted, 42 RSVPs, 3 times normal. I look at Miranda's photo on the workbench, her Colorado smile frozen in time. Tomorrow we finish this. The garage air is thick with chrome polish and paint thinner, that chemical sweet smell that means restoration work is nearly done. My hands are steady, plan is airtight. Deandra Calloway's about to discover that some people don't stay quiet when you push them. Some people know exactly how to push back, and they've spent 22 years learning how to do it legally, methodically, and permanently. Days 46 through 48. Deandra's desperation is showing, and desperate people get sloppy. 11 p.m., day 46. Fake Facebook profile pops up. Concerned Pine Haven resident. Post says I have federal firearms charges and I'm dangerous to children. Complete lie. My record's spotless, but it gets 43 shares before Facebook kills it 12 hours later. Damage done. My phone explodes with concerned texts. One neighbor with kids crosses the street when she sees me collecting mail. That sting sits heavy in my chest. I screenshot everything, file a police report. Detective Alicia Brennan from Cybercrimes traces the IP in 30 minutes. 3 doors from Deandra's house. Either Jackson on his phone or Deandra using his Wi-Fi. Sloppy either way. Day 47 evening. I'm grilling chicken when footsteps hit my front walk. Deandra's on my doorstep holding a store-bought pie in plastic. That artificial apple smell mixing with perfume so heavy it could stop a clock. Garrett, we should talk. Neighbor to neighbor. The smile doesn't reach her eyes. I let her in but don't offer a seat. She sets the pie down like we're having a pleasant chat. Look, we started badly. What if I waived all your fines? Clean slate. In exchange for... Drop your legal plans. Vote with me Saturday to strengthen board authority. You've got federal credentials. People respect that. I need someone credible when the auditors come. There it is. She knows about the audit demand Marcus filed quietly last week. Auditors? I keep my face blank. Problem with the books? She recovers fast. Just standard procedures. Do we have a deal? I'll think about it. She leaves frustrated, fake smile evaporating before she reaches her Audi. The pie stays untouched. I'm not eating anything that woman brought into my house. For all I know, she laced it with her particular brand of crazy. I call Marcus. She knows about the audit. Public record, but someone tipped her. Friend in the clerk's office, maybe. New variable. She's more connected than I thought. Time to move faster. 11:30 p.m., day 48. Security alert, back door. Camera shows Jackson with a crowbar trying to jimmy the lock, not even wearing gloves. I dial 911, then speak loud through the door. Police are coming. I'm armed. Leave now. The crowbar clatters on concrete as he runs. I bag it with a kitchen towel, old evidence habits. Sergeant Nyland arrives 8 minutes later. Kid never learns. They arrest Jackson at home 20 minutes later. Attempted burglary. Second arrest in 3 weeks. 1 a.m. Deandra Facebook melts down. This monster got my son arrested again. Planted evidence. Someone stop him before he hurts our children. 42 Larkspur Lane. She posts my address, calls for community action. My phone won't stop buzzing, but by morning 60+ people report her post. Facebook bans her for 24 hours. 3 neighbors post their security footage of Jackson's break-in with timestamps. Comments flip. Wait, her son's the criminal? How many arrests now? The narrative's turning. She's losing control of the story she's written for 3 years. Morning, day 49. I shower carefully, sport coat on, project authority. Load USB drives for each board member. Marcus texts. Process server ready. Sloan confirms. Camera crew already at community center getting setup shots. I look at the Harley gleaming in morning sun. Miranda's name perfect across the tank. Then drive to the community center. that pre-raid calm settling over me. All planning done. Just execution now. The parking lot's already filling. I recognize Mrs. Kowalski's grandson helping her from their van. The Brunellis with their kids, Rick Haverson and his brother, all 8 plaintiff households arriving together like we planned. Deandra's Audi is parked in the front row, crooked across 2 spaces like she owns the place. Through the community center windows, I can see her setting up at the head table, arranging papers with sharp, aggressive movements. She's wearing a power suit, hair sprayed into submission, that confident tilt to her chin. She thinks this is her victory lap, thinks she's about to crush me in front of the neighborhood, place that lean, make an example out of the guy who dared challenge her authority. She has no idea she's walking into an ambush. I grab my briefcase, check my phone one last time. Marcus. Standing by. Sloan. Rolling. Gregory. Inside. She's already gloating. I take a breath, smooth my jacket, and walk toward the door. Time to show Deandra Calloway what real consequences look like. Day 49, 4 hours before the meeting. 7 a.m. email blast from Deandra. Emergency assessment deadline extended 30 days due to administrative error. Disregard previous lien notices. She's erasing evidence, trying to walk back extortion now that she smells trouble. I screenshot it, forward to Marcus. He replies instantly, "Too late. We have originals with metadata. She just admitted the threats by retracting them." By 9:15, the battle lines are drawn at the community center. Deandra's 12 supporters, matching beautification committee visors, arms crossed, occupy the front rows like they're defending the Alamo. My coalition arrives together, Mrs. Kowalski in wheelchair, the Brunellis with their toddler, Rick Haverson and his paralegal brother, 5 other plaintiff families. They cluster near back, drawing hostile stares. Gregory arrives last, looking physically ill, laptop shaking in his hands. He won't look at Deandra, who's holding court up front like a general reviewing troops. The room smells like stale coffee and floor wax, fluorescent lights buzzing at that frequency that sets teeth on edge. 60 people crammed into space for 40. Sloan's camera crew tucked in back pretending to film B-roll, but I catch the photographer angling for perfect front table shots. 9:45, Deandra's flanked by her 2 loyalist board members, papers in neat stacks, checking her phone obsessively. Gregory sits alone at side table, isolated with his closed laptop like a shield. The power dynamics are visible in pure geography. Supporters front, opponents back, undecided middle, waiting to see blood. 10 a.m. Deandra's gavel cracks like a gunshot. "Thank you for attending. We have serious business. Certain members think rules don't apply to them, and this board must enforce standards." Staring directly at me. I don't blink. Just sit there, briefcase in lap, face blank. First item, approval of special assessment distribution for legal costs and improvements requiring immediate funding. Hand up. Middle-aged guy. "What legal costs specifically? Nothing in the newsletter?" Deandra's smile goes brittle. "Confidential board business. Next item, ongoing member harassment disrupting our governance." She pulls out prepared statement, starts reading about how I've intimidated her family, weaponized legal systems, created hostile environments through surveillance. The performance is almost good. Voice cracks twice, though. Hands shake turning pages. She's terrified under the aggression. Gregory stands. Room goes silent. "I move to amend agenda," he says, voice stronger than expected. "Add item. Review of financial discrepancies and board authority limits." Deandra goes white. "Out of order. We have approved. Robert's rules allow board amendments before vote. I'm president. I'm amending." The silence is profound. Individual breaths audible. "This is a coup." Deandra's voice cracks high. "This is transparency, which we needed 3 years ago." Yolanda Hu raises her hand slowly. I second. Deandra looks slapped, power structure cracking visibly. "I won't allow—" Marcus Feinstein stands from middle row. "If I may, Marcus Feinstein, attorney for 8 households. I have documentation of serious financial and procedural improprieties. All homeowners deserve to see this." He walks forward, pulling out binders. 30 copies. Deandra's on her feet. "Private meeting. You can't— Indiana open door law. HOA meetings are open. Mr. Trudeau invited me as his guest." He distributes binders. Bank statements. $47,000 to Calloway Consulting. Fake invoices. Victim statements. Charter clause proving parking amendment illegal. Facebook smear screenshots. Deandra grabs at binders. "Slander. You can't distribute public record, Mrs. Calloway. Obtained through proper requests." The room ignites. Not chaos. Controlled fury, gasps, angry mutters. People standing to see documents better. Man near front. "I paid $1,200 for a deck violation that doesn't exist." Woman behind. "She threatened CPS over offense fine." Floodgates open. More voices, more stories. The undecided middle is now decided and furious. Deandra's backed against the wall, literally. Face crimson, eyes wild, authority shattered completely. Her phone rings. She glances down, ignores it. Rings again. Again. "Aren't you going to answer that?" I ask quietly from my seat. She stares at me with pure hatred. The phone keeps ringing. Finally she answers, steps into the hallway. Through the open door we hear her voice rising. "What do you mean the star is calling? Who authorized—" "No, don't comment, don't say anything." She comes back in, face now gray instead of red. Sloane Beckett stands up from the back, press badge visible. "Mrs. Calloway, can you comment on allegations of embezzlement and harassment? Our story runs tomorrow." Deandra's mouth opens, closes, opens again. No sound. And we still haven't served the lawsuit. Deandra recovers fast, slams her phone down, crack echoing through the room. "This is a setup. This man, pointing at me, orchestrated a coordinated attack because I enforced community rules. He's using his federal background to intimidate honest residents." I stand slowly. Every eye tracks the movement. "Mrs. Calloway, I have a question. You can answer or not. Your choice." She crosses her arms. "I don't have to answer anything." "Then I'll share facts." I walk to the front, measured steps. "My name's Garrett Trudeau, 59, 22 years with ATF, Chicago field office. My specialty was financial crimes, tracking money through shell companies and fraudulent invoicing." Dead silence. Even her supporters stop fidgeting. "I investigated dozens of cases where someone with minor authority, HOA board, nonprofit treasurer, started moving money. They always think they're clever enough. They never are." I face her directly. "Section 12C of our 2006 Charter states parking amendments require 75% homeowner vote via mailed ballot. Your motorcycle ban 3 years ago? 3 board members voted, no ballots sent. Every fine you issued under it is legally void." Murmurs ripple. People flip through Marcus's binders. "But that's just parking. Let's discuss Calloway Consulting LLC, registered to your address, sole proprietor you. 18 months, $47,000 paid by this HOA. What services did you provide?" Her face drains to paper gray. "Management work, coordination, like road repairs in your special assessment. Township has no permits, no scheduled work." Silence. "Or $12,000 for snow removal consultation in 2022? A winter with 0 measurable snowfall in Indianapolis?" Nervous laughter breaks the tension. "You've embezzled for 3 years. Created fake violations to extort families like Mrs. Kowalski," I gesture back, "who paid $3,400 because you threatened liens while her husband died of cancer." Mrs. Kowalski dabs her eyes. Her grandson grips her shoulder. "Brunellis paid $800 for their 3-year-old's inflatable pool. Rick Haverson paid $1,200 for parking his work truck in his own driveway." My voice stays level, but steel underneath. "You didn't enforce standards. You ran a protection racket." Deandra finds her voice. "Slander! I'll sue—" The door opens. Professional woman in suit scans the room. "Deandra Calloway? Who are you?" "Process server, you've been served." Hands over thick manila envelope. Deandra rips it open, hands shaking. Face goes green reading. "You can't—" Marcus stands. 3 lawsuits filed this morning. Injunction blocking all fee collection and liens. Class action for 8 households, seeking return of fraudulent fines plus punitive damages. Forensic audit demand for 5 years of finances. The room explodes. Applause. Standing. Deandra's supporters stare at floors. Distinguished older man stands. "I move we remove Deandra Calloway from the board immediately for cause." Gregory. Stronger now. Second. Yolanda. Third. Show of hands, Gregory says. "All in favor?" 38 hands rise, 4 stay down, her core looking uncertain. Motion carries. "Deandra, you're removed effective immediately." She stands frozen, papers trembling in her grip. Mouth opens, closes, opens. Finally grabs her purse, knocks chair over with a clatter that makes people flinch. "You'll regret this. All of you." Voice cracks on the last word. She storms toward exit, stops inches from me. "This isn't over," she whispers. I lean in slightly. "Yes, it is, and you did it to yourself." She leaves. Door slams hard enough to rattle the frame, sound echoing off linoleum like a gunshot. Nobody moves. Then Mrs. Kowalski starts clapping. Brunellis join, then everyone. Standing ovation shaking the walls, sound rolling like thunder. I don't smile, don't celebrate. Just nod once. Sit down. Through the window, Deandra's Audi peeling out, tires squealing on asphalt, leaving black marks on the parking lot she used to patrol like her personal kingdom. Sloane's camera caught everything. She gives me a subtle thumbs up from the back. Gregory approaches, extends his hand. "Thank you, I mean it. I should have done this 3 years ago. You did it when it counted. That's what matters. The crowd's still buzzing, people comparing notes from binders, swapping stories about fines they'd paid, relief and anger mixing into something like community solidarity I hadn't seen since moving here. Rick Haverson claps my shoulder. Drinks on me tonight, man. Seriously. Mrs. Kowalski wheels over, grips my hand with surprising strength. My husband would have liked you. He always said bullies fold when you stand up properly. He was right. Outside, sun's hitting the parking lot at that angle that makes everything look golden. Inside, people are voting to freeze HOA accounts pending audit, suspend all existing fines, hire independent management. The tyranny's over. Now comes the healing. 4 weeks later, the pieces fall. Deandra faces 8 counts: theft by deception, extortion, witness tampering, fraud. Prosecutor Chen files within 72 hours of seeing Marcus's evidence. Deandra rejects the plea deal, still thinks she can talk her way out. Jury takes 4 hours to convict on 6 counts. Judge gives her 4 years, eligible for parole after 18 months. Her house sells fast to cover legal fees and restitution. I never see her again. Jackson surprises me. Takes a plea. 18 months, supervised probation, counseling, $3,200 restitution for the Harley, paid in installments from his warehouse job. 6 months in, he knocks on my door one evening. Won't meet my eyes. I'm sorry, about your bike, everything. My mom made me think that was okay. It wasn't. I study him. He's lost weight, looks tired from actual work instead of entitlement. You completing counseling? Yes, sir, twice a week. Good. Keep doing that. You've got time to turn this around. He might actually make it away from her influence. Time will tell. Financial recovery takes longer. Forensic audit reveals $62,000 in fraud over 4 years. Deandra's frozen assets plus insurance means homeowners recover 70% after legal fees. Mrs. Kowalski gets her $3,400 in the first wave. Cries when I help her deposit it. The HOA transforms. 7-member board now, more voices, less power concentrated. Meetings live streamed. Financials posted quarterly online. New rule, fines over $100 require neutral arbitration. Deandra's clipboard tyranny is dead. 6 months later, I organized the first Pine Haven Freedom Ride. 50 motorcycles, Harleys, Indians, sport bikes, vintage Triumphs. We ride through at respectful speeds, kids waving from lawns, then raise $8,000 for the Veterans Mental Health Center. Annual tradition now. The neighborhood that tried to ban my bike hosts a charity ride every spring. We established the Miranda Trudeau Memorial Scholarship, $2,000 yearly for students pursuing public service. First recipient, Mrs. Kowalski's granddaughter, future civil rights attorney. Ceremonies at the community center, same room where we took Deandra down. Full circle. The locked common area becomes a community garden. 40 plots, volunteer managed. Summer evenings smell like tomato plants, sound like families laughing over harvest. Sign at entrance, grown by community, not ruled by tyranny. Sloan's article wins state awards, sparks legislative action. Indiana passes the HOA Transparency Act 8 months later. Mandatory audits, criminal penalties for embezzlement over $5,000, homeowner bill of rights. Some call it Trudeau's Law, though I just provided the case study. I start dating Rachel from Veterans Group. She lost her husband in Afghanistan, understands grief without explanation. We take it slow. Miranda's bandana stays on the Harley's handlebar. Always will. My website expands. Know your HOA rights for all 50 states. 2,000 monthly visitors. 40-plus communities asking for guidance. Weekly emails from people facing similar fights. Can't help everyone, but I point them toward resources, connect them with attorneys, explain documentation strategies. The podcast interview, How I Took Down My HOA Karen, hits 8 million downloads. Comments flood with victory stories. Deandra wasn't unique. She just picked the wrong target. 6 months after everything settles, new neighbors move into Deandra's old house. Young couple, nervous. The woman approaches while I'm washing the Harley one Saturday. Mr. Trudeau, I heard what happened here. I need help. Our last HOA tried foreclosing over $50. We barely escaped. I see her exhausted eyes, protective husband behind her. Tell me everything. Bring documentation. 3 weeks later, we find the discrepancies, file motions, get their money back plus damages. Different HOA, same playbook. Turns out I'm not done fighting. Golden sunset. Me on the Harley down Larkspur Lane. Mrs. Kowalski waves from her porch. Brunellis kids trail on bikes, laughing. Camera pulls back. Pine Haven Meadows sign now reads, a community of neighbors, not subjects. Phone buzzes. Text from 3 states away. Saw your story. Our HOA president's doing the same. Can you help? I smile, text back, send what you've got. The work continues. What's your worst HOA nightmare? Drop it below. Your story might be next. Where are you watching from? This problem's everywhere. Want more underdog beats system stories? Subscribe. Next week, property manager tries evicting a veteran over his service dog. Learns why you never mess with a Marine's best friend. Screen text. Deandra Calloway, convicted on 6 counts, 4 years, paroled after 18 months. Jackson Calloway, completed probation successfully. 31 homeowners recovered $43,000. Indiana HOA Transparency Act passed unanimously, 2026. Garrett Trudeau continues helping HOA victims nationwide.